Hi there and welcome to this week's live stream guitar lesson. Hope you're well, and yeah, this is week 38, believe it or not. So we'll be continuing with Guitar Quest 3, answer any questions that anyone might have, and yeah, just generally trying to progress things really. So as always, for the start of these half-hour sessions, I would suggest turn off any devices that have notifications that might kind of cause distractions, that kind of thing, phones, whatever. Give ourselves that undivided half an hour guitar time. Yeah, and if there's any children watching, then I'd suggest try and have an adult in the room as well, just so they can help guide through any ideas that you might find difficult. So we will kick off with checking our tuning, and then we'll get stuck into the various other bits and pieces. So starting with our bottom E string, this is how we want it to sound. So I say week. Sorry, I was just thinking, is this week 38 or week 37? I'm not entirely sure. So I've got week 38 written down, but I've seen something else flash up and say it's week 37, so I'll have to double check that. Anyway, I digress. So, bottom E string. So we want to make sure the tone or the pitch of that note is the same as that, so we just adjust up or down ever so slightly. Then our fifth string. Adjust until it sounds the same, and then our D string, okay, and then G, and then B, and then finally our top E string. Okay, so hopefully your strings sound the same as that, which means you should be pretty much in tune, so that's all good. Remember, posture-wise, we want to be sitting in such a way that the guitar's at a good angle, so we don't want it to be sliding away from us like that, even though you might want to bring your fingers round to be able to, you know, so you can see what you're doing. Appreciate that might happen a bit, but try and keep it as upright as you can. It does make the playing easier, even if it may feel more difficult initially. So, okay, so excuse me for a second there. Exercise 1, that was going to be our warm-up for the week, so let's get stuck into it. So we played this for the last couple of weeks, so hopefully it's sort of embedded a little bit and you're sort of okay with it. It's playing two notes at the same time, so remember when the notes are written directly one on top of the other, that's when we play them together. And in this case, we're going to use our thumb to play the low notes, and our fingers are going to play the high notes. So, as I said, we've played it before, so we'll just give it a go. Hopefully it will act as a bit of a warm-up, get the fingers loosened up and that kind of thing, and then we'll push on and get onto some new stuff. So, after 4, here we go. So, 1, 2, 3, 4. Back to the beginning, 3, 4. Okay, cool. So that hopefully has refreshed a few of the notes and the sort of technique of playing two notes at the same time. If anybody wants to run over, the treble notes and the bass notes and that kind of thing, just jot a comment down, and we can do that. That's no problem. I should mention as well, if you want to add a comment, then you do need to have subscribed. I think I put that there as well. So if you're trying to type away and it's not sending, then yeah, just hit the subscribe button and it should work. So okay, but let's move on then. So what I was thinking is we'll quickly rattle through exercise 2 and 3. They're the ones we've covered before. And then on, well, actually we've done exercise 4 as well. So, but I think it's good just to recap a couple, because hopefully these ideas are sort of sinking in a little bit more and feeling more comfortable with them. So, so yeah, number 2 then, decision time. This is in 3/4. So we're just going to play through it. Remember the structure. We do lines 1 and 2. Then lines 3 and 4, then we do lines 3 and 4 again because of the repeat mark, and then we go back and do lines 1 and 2 again because of our DC al fine. So here we go, everyone. So after 3, good luck. Okay, so 1, 2, 3. Third line, 2, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and last line, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, back to the third line, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and the last line, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, and back to beginning. 2, 3. That's where we're going to finish. I can't remember if I said, I don't think I talked about us playing that one last week, or playing it again this week, I mean, so sort of threw that on you. But if it went well, then well done, and give yourself a pat on the back. As I've said before, it's always good to acknowledge what is going well and so on. So yeah, let's move on then. If we turn the page to page 4, the first thing we've got there is the C chord. Now, we talked about this last week, so I'll just briefly talk you through it. Hopefully, with a week in between, you're kind of getting used to sort of the C chord shape. It is a little bit more difficult than some of the other chords, and the key thing is just keeping these fingers up on the fingertips and not allowing them to kind of slacken down. And the difference between a C chord, hopefully you can hear that nice and clearly. You can hear all those notes there nice and clear. So the difference between that and an iffy sounding C chord is not actually that much. It's only just a little movement in the fingers. So it could be like a millimetre or 2 that you've got to just adjust the fingers. So if you are getting any muted strings and that kind of thing, just see if you can move the fingers just a mil or something like that, or get them just a tiny bit more up on the fingertips, and that hopefully will sort that issue out. So, but yeah, so we go 2nd string 1st fret, which is our C. We'll put our middle finger on the E, 4th string 2nd fret, and then our 3rd finger on the C, 5th string 3rd fret. And when we strum, we're going to avoid the 6th string. So whenever we're strumming a chord, unless we're sort of directed to do differently, we always want to make like the title note of the chord the lowest note. So for example, if it's a C chord, we want C to be the lowest note. If it's G, we want G to be the lowest note, and so on. So in this case, we strum from the 5th string. If you include the 6th string, then you're making E the lowest note. Now E is in the chord of C anyway, so it's not a horrible sound, but it's not quite what we're after. So yeah, just do your best with it, and you'll find when you're strumming, you'll probably catch that 6th string every now and again anyway. So like I say, it's not the end of the world, but we just aim to avoid it as best we can. So let's try strumming it all together then. So on 4, I'll give you a second to get those fingers down and in place. Say on 4, after 4 in fact. So, okay, here we go. So 3, 4, and strum. And a good way to check, as I was demonstrating earlier, is just to go across the strings one at a time. And just are those notes nice and clear? As I said, just adjust a little bit if needed. Okay, so the thing I suggested last week then was to switch from C into A minor. So the 1st and 2nd fingers stay constant, so we just move the 3rd finger to the A, 3rd string, 2nd fret, and strum again. And again, this is A minor, we want A to be the lowest note, and our lowest A that we can get on the guitar is the open 5th string, so hence strumming from there. And we're going to go back to C, and we're just going to alternate between the two. And we'll strum 4 times on each one, so we'll do this together in a second. So what you want to try and do is keep fingers 1 and 2 sort of locked in position. You know, there might be a little bit of sort of wiggle room, sort of back and forth, but what you don't want is kind of C, all the fingers off, A minor, all off, and then back on again. We want to try and keep it as sort of steady and concise as possible. So, and that's true for whenever you're playing any chords. So if you can spot fingers that are consistent between chords, hold them down, because it will make the chord changes smoother. So, okay, let's try it then. So we're going to strum 4 times on C, then we're going to change to A minor, strum 4 times, and then back again. And we'll just do that a few times. It's just good practice, really. So, okay, so after 4 then, so starting on the C, again, I'll just give you a second just to make sure you've got your fingers in place. Okay, so here we go. So 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Move that 3rd finger around to the A minor. 3, 4, back to the C. We're going to go a little bit slower actually. 3, 4, move the 3rd finger round, A minor. 3, 4, back to the C again. 3, 4, then A minor. 2, 3, 4, and back to the C. We'll just do it this last time. 3, 4, and then A minor. 2, 3, and finish on the C. So we come back and finish there. So yeah, good stuff. If you manage to keep going with that, then well done. Pat on the back as always. If you found it a bit of a challenge, then just practice exactly what we just did, just doing that kind of thing, and it will come. So just yeah, these things can sometimes take a little longer than we might want, but we all get there in the end. So just persevere. That's kind of the name of the game, really, with that. So okay. So let's go on to exercise 3 then. So this one I think we started last week, so we will do a little bit more on it today. So exercise 3, a new start, is in 2/4 time. So remember, when it comes to time signatures, for the time being, we're not really going to worry too much about the number on the bottom. It's more the number on the top that we're interested in. So it's 2 beats per bar. And at some point I'll talk about time signatures and explain them in a little bit more depth. But for now, like, all we need to know is it's two beats in the bar. So structure-wise, we've got the DCR Fine, so we're going to play lines 1, 2, 3, 4, and we go back to the beginning and play lines 1 and 2 again. This one is perhaps a little bit more difficult because we've got more, in a way, going on in the bass, because we've got the C and then we've also got a G. So C is 5th string 3rd fret, G 6th string 3rd, rather than just open strings, which is mainly what exercise 2 was. But yeah, let's give it a go, see how we get on. So I'll count us in with 2 bars of 2, so 1, 2, 1, 2, and then we'll start. So, good luck everybody. So, after 2 sets of 2 counting in, okay, so fingers up ready on the 2 C's, 5th string 3rd and 2nd string 1st. Okay, so 1, 2, 1, 2. 3rd line, 2, 1, 2, back to beginning. 1, 2. Okay, cool. So one other little thing I don't think I mentioned in previous weeks, but on the first line, when we're playing, so we've got the 2 C's together, and obviously to get that bass note A, we just lift the 3rd finger off. I've probably mentioned before, sometimes I exaggerate that movement to try and make it clearer, but when you're playing, really you want to be only lifting off, you know, as little as you can really, so you get the note but not have the fingers flailing all over the place. So yeah, sorry, so from the start, so you've got the 2 C's, C and A, so you can keep that 1st finger down, back on again, and when you do the A and the, A and E at the end there, we can still keep this finger down because we're going straight back to it at the start of the next line. You just have to make sure when you're holding this finger down that you can get that top E string. So as long as you can do that, then it's from a kind of guitar efficiency point of view, keeping that 1st finger down does make a lot of sense. So if you were doing that, then that's I would say good technique. So keep going with it, and if you didn't, try it and see how you go. What might happen is you might find you get something like that, you know, and that will just be again like the C chord we were talking about earlier, just getting that finger up on the fingertip a little bit more, just so that we're getting that sound nice and clear. So, okay, let's move on then. So we also covered exercise 4 last week. So this one's back to our kind of just our more general treble notes. So hopefully you're familiar with them by now, but just a quick recap. So open 3rd string is G, A at the 2nd fret, B, open 2nd string, C at the 1st fret, D at the 3rd fret, open E, that's 1st string, sorry, and then F, 1st string, 1st fret, and G, 1st string, 3rd fret. So that's, yeah, well that covers all the notes we need anyway in number 4. So the thing to watch out for is just that little bit of timing at the start of the bars. So in the 1st bar, for example, we've got A on beat 1. It's tied for the 1st half of beat 2, so it's 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So that 1st note lasts 1.5 beats. So that's the thing we're really watching out for in this particular exercise. And then in exercise 5, we're going to go on and play the chords, and that's a chord accompaniment. That's giving us some C chord practice. So number 4 is really about just giving us a tune that we can work with, that's going to work against those chords. And exercise 6 also gives us something to sort of, it's related to this, and we'll get onto that shortly. So, okay, so we had a go at number 4 last week anyway. So let's try it again together today. We have the repeat mark at the near the end, so at the end of the penultimate bar there. So we'll do the repeat and then work our way back through. So good luck everybody. After 4, so here we go. So 3, 4. 1, 2, and 3, and 4. 1, 2. 1, 2. Rest. So, well done if that went well. It's again, as always, if you're finding any of these tricky and backing tracks and all that stuff are on my YouTube channel, so you can check them out there. Or we covered this one in a little bit more detail last week, so you can go back and review that one as well. So let's get on to number 5 then. So this is the chord accompaniment to number 4. So the chords we're going to start off with, A minor, so we were playing that one a minute ago, and then C, obviously the other one we were playing a minute ago as well. Then we have D minor, so I think I mentioned last week about possibly just refreshing those chords. So in the book, just try to check the page, right at the back, so page 28, I've got the other chord shapes down there, so if you can't remember D minor or E, then just check out that page and it will show you. But D minor, just as a quick recap, first string, first fret for the F, then we're going to do our middle finger on the A, third string, second fret, and our third finger goes on the D, second string, third fret. And we're going to strum from the 4th string, and that gives us our D minor chord. So far then, A minor to C, then it's a whole change there to get to the D minor, and then we're going to go back to E, so back to E, primarily because that was one of the first chords we learnt. So E, this one here, so we do our first finger on the G sharp, third string, first fret, our middle finger goes to the 5th string, second for the B, and our third finger goes to the 4th string, second for the E, and then we strum all the strings. So hopefully get that nice clear sound. Again, with any of these chords, if the notes aren't quite sounding clear, D minor is the most likely one, I would say, aside from C. So out of A minor, D minor and E, probably D minor is going to be the one that you might find most challenging. It's just how it usually is, particularly that note on the first string. So just adjust those fingers ever so slightly if you feel you need to. Okay, so those are our chords, and then looking, actually if I just bring the music up onto the screen for a second, hopefully you can see that, yes. Okay, so this is our rhythm here. Oops, let me just change that. So we've got crotchet and then a couple of quavers. Crotchet and a couple of quavers, crotchet, a couple of quavers. And these ones here, they're tied, so we're just going to let that chord strum sustain through. So I'll just, quick example on the A minor. So we're going to go 1, 2, and 3, 4. And notice we're going to go down, down, up with our strumming. And I'll demonstrate this more clearly in just a second. But then at the end of this bar, or this line, sorry, we've got 3 down strums on the E. So we're just changing our pattern around a little bit here. Then when we come on to the second line, it's the same kind of idea, except for this this bar here with the E, where we're going to go down, up, down, up, down, or 1 and 2 and 3, and then rest on beat 4. So one thing I try to convey to people in like my private lessons is that there's this idea that when you have a song, that there's a strumming pattern that goes with it, and it's like, what is the strumming pattern to this song? And I think that can be a little bit misleading. It's a good way to get started, so it's fine, but if you kind of study songs in more detail, you'll probably find, and there's always exceptions to the rule, but the strumming that you do in one part of the song will change as you go through, and there'll be times where you want to emphasise things, you might want to drop back a little bit, so there's always a lot of variety that goes on. So writing it out, like as in exercise 5 here, is just giving us, just kind of introducing this idea that we're going to be doing slightly different strumming patterns in different bars, which is effectively, if you pursue your guitar playing and song playing is the sort of thing you want to get into, you'll do that a lot. So it's a good idea to kind of have in your mind that actually there is always a lot of variety within strumming. So back to the A minor. So we are going to go down on beat 1, and then down and up, and that's our 2 and. So it's 1, 2, and 3, 4. So you don't need to, I move my hand down on beats 3 and 4 there, not strumming. You don't need to do that. You can if you want, it really doesn't matter. So we'd go down, down, up, 3, 4, then we change to the C, same pattern, then the D minor, 3, 4, and then E, we're going to do 3 strums, rest, and then A minor, we're back to that first pattern, and C, 3, 4, D minor, same again. When we get to the E, we're going to go 1 and 2 and 3, 4. Now I've put rests in at the end of the bars of E chords. Whether you do the rest and cut the sound off or not, it's not really that important. I'll leave that over to you guys. But what we want to try and hear is that difference in the pattern. That's kind of the more key thing. Obviously, the other really important thing is making sure that we're playing the right chord at the right time and in the right place. So that is also crucial. So let's give it a go. I should also mention, just in terms of strumming, like another question sometimes get asked is what finger should I be strumming with and that kind of thing. So in my opinion, because a lot of people when they're playing, they'll be playing with a plectrum or a pick, and so they have, in fact I've got one kicking around somewhere, they'll be holding something that looks a little bit like that, and so they have one point of attack, and so they'll be strumming like that. When you're strumming fingerstyle, we have obviously 4 fingers and a thumb, so we can approach it in a slightly different way. I wouldn't say there's like a defined you have to do it this way, so whatever feels comfortable and to a certain extent what gives the sound that you want. So when you strum down with the thumb, you'll be going with the fleshy part of the finger, which gives you a slightly softer tone. If you strum down with the nail of the index finger, which would be the next most obvious choice, you'll get a harsher kind of sound. So depending on the style of the song or whatever you're playing, you could choose between them. But primarily I would go thumb or index finger, and I'd also try to avoid sort of strumming with several fingers at once. It is okay to do that, provided you can make it a clean hit, but what you don't want is that kind of sound where you've got the 3 fingers sort of following one after the other, because you won't get a clean sound out of it and it will all sound a bit messy. So that's my opinion. You might watch other videos that people might say different, but like I say, there's no like hard and fast rule of how you have to do this. So let's try it together. So we're going to start on our A minor shape. Good luck. This might be a little more challenging than some of the other ones we've done, so yeah, best of luck. After 4, so 1, 2, 3, 4, down, down, up, 3, 4, and then to C, 3, 4, D minor, 3, 4, then 3 strums on the E, 2, 3, cut the sound if you want, back to A minor, 3, 4, and the C, 3, 4, D minor, 3, 4, and then E, down, up, down, up, down, and we're going to go back to the beginning, down, up, 3, 4, and then the C, 3, 4, D minor, 3 strums on the E, 2, 3, we cut the sound, back to A minor, 3, 4, then the C, 3, 4, D minor, 3, 4, and down, up, down, up, down, and we finish on an A minor, and just we're going to let that chord hang there. Cool, okay, right, we haven't covered anywhere near as much today as I'd intended, and what I'd like to do is just play you the track for exercise 5. I'm just going to point at the music as well. It obviously is basically the same as exercise 4, however what I did on the video, on the backing track, sorry, is try and drop the volume of exercise 4 so you can hear the strumming more clearly. So I'll press play on it and we'll work our way through it, and hopefully that will all make sense in just a second. So hope you enjoy it. Okay, cool. So that's the tune. Obviously, those are the chords that go into the backing, and we've left the strum. The strum's going 1, 2, and giving you that space on beats 3 and 4 to hopefully change chords. So you might find as you're playing, you get that kind of thing. Where the sound disappears. We want the sound to linger as much as possible, but I've deliberately left the 2 beats to give you the opportunity to hopefully get to the next chord in time, even if it's not as musical as you might want it to sound just at the moment. But as always, practice makes perfect. So, cool. Okay, that is probably going to be a good place for us to finish up today. So yeah, we haven't covered, as I mentioned, quite as much as I'd hoped today. That's probably me waffling on a little bit more than normal. But hopefully I've given you some extra tips and advice and things that will maybe make some of those chord changes a bit easier and that kind of thing. We will be pushing on and doing some more stuff next week, looking at the B flat note. So that's something a little bit new. So yeah, to recap then, what I would suggest this week for practice, we'll do exercise 3 as a bit of a warm-up, just to kind of get the fingers loosened up and moving. And then what I would focus on primarily would be exercises 4 and 5 really. So you've got exercise 4 for that melody, and then exercise 5 for the chord backing. And that's pretty much it. So if you enjoyed the lesson, then please do give it a thumbs up and perhaps share it around. If you are enjoying some of the exercises, then please also feel free to record them and post them online, tag me in them and that. And it's always nice to see how people are getting on. So our next lesson is next Thursday, which is the 6th of February. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Got the books available, and got the QR code you can see on the right there, so you can scan and get those if you need to. If you've got any questions, please do fire away, and otherwise I will look forward to seeing you all next week. So best of luck with the practice as always. Have a great weekend, and I will see you next Thursday. Take care everybody. Bye bye.